ladies and gents, and welcome to War Thunder with Mags. I don't know where to start on this. I've been delaying making this video for a little while because, well, Gaijin announced the matchmaking and the BR changes actually over 2 weeks ago in a devlog. Apparently a lot of people missed it and didn't realise this was coming. But honestly, I wanted to see whether or not they were crazy enough to do it. So as you can see on screen right now, this was one of my first flyouts in the 162 under the new matchmaking. And we're going to take a look at the battle ratings of the German team that is currently in. There they are on screen now. So, 1 7.7 aircraft, 2 7.0, the rest are battle rating 6.7 jets. Now, to understand what Gaijin was up to with this new matchmaker and the battle ratings changes, you need to understand what quantitative matchmaking is. Now, quantitative matchmaking is what Gaijin has applied from battle rating 8, well 8.3, as that is now the maximum battle rating in the game, down to battle rating 6.7. And the idea where it is, well, it's actually twofold. The first part of it is to control the number of top BR vehicles in any given match. That's aeroplanes or tanks, it applies to both. Currently the restrictions across from battle rating 6.7 to 8.3 across the entire matchmaking tree for aircraft are 4 top end vehicles in any given match. So if you are at a 7.7 battle rating match, you can only have 4 7.7 vehicles on your team, 4 on the enemy team. The same thing applies in tanks, except at the 7 to 7.7 battle rating bracket, the top end battle rating bracket for tanks, you can have 6 of the highest level tank in the game. Now the second part of quantitative matchmaking is it's supposed to do sort of like what Wargaming does with its World of Tanks matchmaker. The matchmaker is meant to look at all the planes on one team, all the planes on the other team, and if you have a 6.7 over here, they're supposed to have a 6.7. If you have a battle rating 7, they're supposed to have a battle rating 7. It won't perfectly match the BRs across both teams, but it's supposed to get them as close as possible to prevent those times when you go into battle and one team has completely the max level aircraft in the game, say in a 7.7 match, a full team of 7.7 aircraft, meanwhile your team, or the opposing force, depending on which side you're playing on, has a team full of 6.7 aircraft. Now, in theory, if quantitative matchmaking works correctly as advertised, it's actually a really good thing for War Thunder. In fact, my only complaint with it would be that it's only applied to the jet tiers, when it needs to be applied right across the game. It's a really good idea to limit the maximum number of top-end vehicles, and to try and control the balance across both teams to make it as fair as possible. Now, I'm sure you guessed it this time by the fact that I'm running pop-ups in the background showing the battle ratings of each of the enemy team's aircraft, and I am going to show you a full breakdown of the enemy team versus the German team at the completion of this match, which won't be far away. But the quantitative matchmaking isn't working. Not even close. The matchmaking is just as unbalanced as it has ever been. But we can ignore that for the moment because, well, the quantitative matchmaking was never going to work. As much as it's a great idea. Because matchmakers like that, just like every single other matchmaking system that Gaijin has ever come up with, are completely reliant on the BRs assigned to each and every individual aircraft, the actual value of each plane being correct and balanced. If they're not, you cannot balance this game. It doesn't matter how much fancy code you put into your matchmaker, it just will not work unless the correct values are assigned to the aircraft within your tree. So the matchmaker has a balanced tech tree to work with when it starts trying to put the matches together. Well, in the case of this, it's been a total fail because, of course, by now most people are aware, Gaijin has actually reduced the maximum BR in War Thunder in aircraft from 9 to 8.3 and has begun dropping all of the top-end jets in BR. In fact, they've dropped BRs right across the board, increasing a problem with compression that already existed within the game. Currently, the battle rating 8.3 aircraft, there are only 2. And that is the CL-13A and the F-86F2. The F-86 F-25, the MiG-15 Biz and the Meteor F-8 all live at battle rating 8.0. As you can see on screen right now, battle rating 7.7 includes the F-86A5 along with the F-86 F-30 from the Japanese tree. The Meteor F4 Longwings both sit in at 7.7 along with both F9F Panthers. That's the F9F5 and the F9F2. The Banshee finds itself all the way back down at battle rating 7, where it was when it was first introduced to the game. So all those guys enjoying your break from getting smashed by Korean War jets in your World War II props, don't worry, the Banshees are coming back to get you. As you can see on screen now, that's how well quantitative matchmaking is working. I suppose you can definitely say that there was less than 4 top-end aircraft on each team, so at least that side of things is working, but I don't think it really counts when there's only 7 players per team. As for balancing out the teams, as you can see, the German forces only consisted of 3 aircraft from battle rating 7 and up, where the Allied forces only had a single battle rating 6.7 aircraft. Everything else was 7 and up. So on the off chance that this was just a fluke, I took a quick look around in my P80. I actually took a couple of flyouts in this one here. And no, you'll notice again, we've got an F-80C off to our right, we've got multiple F-2Hs all over the sky, and this match also includes 2 F-9Fs, 1 F-9F2 and 1 F-9F5 on this team. No Sabres this time out, but yet the entire time I was in battle, I never actually saw any C-Series 262s, only A-Series 262s did I spot on the enemy team. While there definitely were more people in this round, I think we got up to actually about 11 or 12 players on each team in the long run, and I didn't get a good look at the entire enemy team. This was still a one-sided match. The F-9Fs had an absolute ball playing with the 262s. There was nothing the 262 pilots could do to stop them. Now, I have been monitoring the forums and I have been watching Reddit, as well as getting all my normal messages that I would normally receive on a change like this happening in War Thunder. And a lot of the complaints I've been seeing from people is, oh my god, this just shows Russian bias, or the only reason this has been done is because the Russian community asked for it. I'm sorry, the guys that are complaining about that or saying that, you guys have no idea what you're talking about. This screws up the Russian planes in game just as badly as it screws over everybody else. And I know Google Translate is not the most accurate tool in the world, but if you jump onto the Russian forums and use it to translate the pages, you'll find the Russian community is just as pissed off about this as everybody else is. They're not happy about these changes. So how does it affect the Russian planes? Well, here's the LA-174. It's a rare premium, well, it's not a premium aircraft, but a rare aircraft. An aircraft that is, well, it's basically a copy of the LA-15 that is available in the Russian Tree in War Thunder as well. Now, you remember the LA-15 was originally a battle rating 8 aircraft when it went into the game. It flew alongside the MiG-15 Biz, it flew against the F-86, F-2 and F-25, and it was found after 2 or 3 months worth of flight that this plane was completely incapable of fighting against those aircraft. In fact, it couldn't even catch those aircraft. It rips its wings off at 910 kilometers an hour. Well, this plane now is forced to refight those planes. It was down tiered to 7.3 into a position where it no longer had to face anything but the A5 Sabre. It no longer had to fly alongside the MiG-15 Biz. Well, this plane is screwed now. This plane will almost always be the cannon fodder in MiG-15 matches. It is going to be fighting F2 Sabres. It is going to be fighting F-86 F-25s. It is considered to be the equivalent now of the F-30 Sabre, despite flight testing of the aircraft showing that it's actually more the equivalent of an F-80C. And this should give you a really good idea of where this plane stands. I'm a fairly good pilot with this machine. I've had some pretty good matches into it, and I just tore my wings off simply trying to catch a B-57. So what happens when the pilots of the LA-174 and the LA-15 have to engage an F-86 F-2 Sabre, a plane that is 300 kilometers an hour or near on faster than it, quicker in a dive, quicker in a climb, better in roll, more manoeuvrable, with better air brakes and heavier firepower? I know hating on Russian planes and Russian pilots is very popular at the moment, but seriously guys, they got fucked just as hard as everybody else by this patch. In fact, there is only one area where there was any advantage at all to Russia, and it actually wasn't in the matchmaking. Tank-wise, they're getting just as wrecked as everybody else, until you get to the top tiers, where they have the T-10M that is, quite frankly at the moment, wrecking everything from battle rating 7.7 to battle rating 6.7. Now, why would a top-end tank really be controlling the battlefield from only 7.7 and down? Well, that's because 7.7 is now the highest battle rating for tanks. There is nothing higher than that. But that's not actually what I want to talk about here. What I want to talk about is the new changes to the IS-2. Now, the ground forces match you're watching here is a 6.7 maximum match. I'm driving my Tiger II. The top tanks on the enemy team are 6.7 as well. They're the IS-2 Mod 1944. This is actually not bad matchmaking overall. There seemed to be a relatively equal number of Tiger 2s to the IS-2s on the enemy team. Overall, the match seemed to be balanced. Now, I do want to point out right now that this is the exception, not the rule. I've played about 10 Ground Forces matches at this time at 6.7. This is the only one where I was ever top tier and where it ever appeared that both teams had equal number. The rest of the time, I was fighting 7.7 tanks. So why show this match? Well, there was one change that was done to the IS-2 Revenge, the IS-2 Mod 1944, and the SU-122P. They received a new shell type, the BR-471D. Now, penetration-wise, the BR-471D, it does have a higher penetration than other shells that have been available for the tank in some time. The new Russian shell can penetrate 180mm of armour at 1000 metres, or 230mm of armour at 10 metres. Now, this is still less than the penetration of the APCR round available to the Tiger II, which will penetrate around 305mm at 10 metres, or around 257mm at 1000 metres. So, where's the problem here? Well, the problem is the Russian shell weighs 25 kilograms and is heavily filled with almost 20 kilograms of explosive material. The German APCR is 7.3 kilograms and a solid slug. The penetration values are actually far similar to the PZG R39 round, the stock round for the Tiger II, but the stock round's penetration wide is comparable to the Russians' new BR-47-1D round. It's only a 10 kilogram shell with about 5 kilograms of explosive filler. What the Russians have just been giving on the IS-2 and the SU-122Ps is a shell that is actually capable of penetrating almost every German tank frontally. It is capable of penetrating all but the M103 for the American tree frontally, and it's delivering 20 kilograms of high explosive. Now, this causes massive problems for balance and realism. From the balance side of things, the way the Russian guns used to work is they could deliver more explosive potential per shell than any other nation in the game. They sacrifice penetration for that explosive potential. They've just been given a shell that has comparable penetration values to both American tanks and German tanks, but has 2 to 3 times the explosive filler. The second problem from a realism standpoint is, as far as I've been able to find out, this shell was never used by the IS-2 or the 122P. It was only ever used by the IS-3 and the IS-4, as it's a Cold War shell that didn't go into service with the USSR until 1954. Now, these changes alone would have been bad enough, but this wasn't enough. Gaijin have also gone about dropping the battle ratings of a large number of both aircraft and tanks outside of the Era 5 area, where obviously battle rating changes have taken place. Why have they done this? Well, I can only assume it's preparation to do the same thing to Eras 1 through 4, but regardless, we've had an overcompression problem with the battle rating system and the number of aircraft for the number of battle ratings in War Thunder for almost 2 years at this point. It's actually gone back to the original matchmaking system before the BR system, but it's really been critical for the last 2 years. And Gaijin's response has been to drop the battle ratings on an already overcompressed system, compressing it further. Now, the only reason I can see to compress the tiers like this is if Gaijin is trying to lower the matchmaking queues again. But Gaijin, we've said it before, we're going to say it again, I'm going to say it to you right now. The problem with the matches was never the length of the time it was taking to get into the matches. The matchmaking queue length was not something we were complaining about. What we were complaining about is the matches we were getting into weren't fucking worth playing in the first place. Everything you've just done this patch has made that worse. How long are the queues at Era 5 going to be when people stop playing Era 5? Look, the long and short of this is, quantitative restrictions, the new quantitative matchmaker, is not working at all. The new battle rating assignments for aircraft and tanks in Era 5 are absolutely fucking ridiculous and made most of Era 5 tanks and almost all of Era 5 planes completely unplayable, to the point where I cannot recommend, in aircraft at least, you play anything above battle rating 5.7. I'm just glad my premium account's run out and I'm no longer paying for this shit. Anyways, ladies and gents, this was going to be a full vlog, but due to Gaijin releasing this insanity early prior to patch 1.55 release, it's got its own little video. I wasn't expecting them to do that. Honestly, I didn't expect them to release this kind of insanity in the first place, but apparently I underestimated the strength of vodka and bath salts. Anyways, ladies and gents, hope you enjoyed the video. Click like if you do, subscribe if you want to see more. Fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.